Hello, I'm Paul Wilkinson, and I've been dealing and collecting and working with sound therapy bowls, with healing Tibetan bowls and Himalayan bowls for about 30 years. And we're actually filming from my home in Kathmandu, and these are particularly large and rare versions of the Himalayan bowls, made of a mixture of 7 metals. The crazy thing I'm doing on my head is a sort of type of sound healing where the vibrations go back and forth through the brain, and the brain is soft like a jelly. So in a minute I'll put some water in and I'll show you the way in which the water moves around. If I put a little bit more water in the bowls, and then you can see the sound waves moving in the... Okay, so really for a bowl this size I would be better with a bigger stick than this. So as the sound waves move stronger and stronger through the bowl, you get these tremendous cymatic patterns in the... Just see if I can move that a little bit closer so you can see it. Can you zoom right in? And I'll play a little bit harder so the water shoots up. I'll play slower so you can see the ripple patterns, and you might notice that you're getting these points moving around like that because the bowl has a resonant frequency with nodes, with a sort of a wavelength that travels around like that in the bowl. So if you were to play this with a bit more water than that, there's several ways in which you can, if you've got strong arms it's fine, but you can, if you're sitting, you can rest with your arm on your lap and the bowl sort of free, or something like that with your hand and a cushion. You don't have to tap it, but there are some different techniques that allow you to bring out different notes in the bowl when you tap the bowl at the beginning. So I don't know if you can see on the film, but you have these wavelengths that are moving around the edge of the bowl. So I'm holding the stick a little bit like holding a pencil, and then you can see I'm moving from my shoulder and elbow, a little bit like in Tai Chi, the way you move everything from the waist, or from yoga you move everything from the waist. So you don't want to try and move from the wrist. You have a lot more control if you can move from your core like that. So you're actually really relaxed as you're playing. And then I'm going to let this vibrate, and then I'm going to bring it back. I've played now for so long that it's quite hard to sometimes make it vibrate accidentally. So like that. So if the bowl is bouncing the stick off, I'm going to let it do it again, like that. So when you're a beginner, quite often the resonance builds up so much in the bowl that the stick will bounce off the edge of the bowl, and you get this sort of ringing sound. And one of the ways around that is you can, as you're playing, and this is also like a type of internal meditation for being very present with the bowl, that as you're playing, you're paying attention to where the vibration is in the bowl and where the rhythm is in the bowl, and if by speeding up a fraction or slowing down a fraction you can actually get in front of the in front of the wavelength or behind the wavelength. If you speed up, then what happens is the wavelengths gradually speed up and you end up getting a higher and higher note. If you slow down, the note tends to stay fairly stable and deep. So I'll illustrate both. So I'm going to allow the sound waves to build up in the bowl. At some point I'll do a slow motion version so you can see the edges of the bowls vibrating. So it's just getting to the point where it's wanting to bounce this stick off. And now I'm going to slightly slow down and then speed up again. So I'm keeping the resonance very stable and constant. So if you're doing a meditation, maybe you're doing mantra, or you're just focusing your awareness, your presentness into playing the bowl. So it's like a type of meditation in motion, where you're really being with the process of making the sound. And a secondary focus is when you're playing like that. If I'll just illustrate it with this bowl because it's quite easy to play. So as you play it, you're paying attention to I'm going to add a little bit more water actually. If I've got more water. No, I'm going to leave it. So as you play it, you watch the ripple patterns in the water, and you slow your awareness down and allow your consciousness to get absolutely absorbed into the ripple patterns. And you've got these amazing cymatic patterns of the visual appearance of the sound waves expressing themselves in the water. And then you also, depending on the way that you're playing, you can get various sorts of standing waves. So I'll just play. Can you see into that, Neeraj? Is that so you're using the ripple patterns as a focus of attention. What you notice is that gradually as you're playing, you get these peak points around where the wavelengths are moving in a spiral around the bowl as you're playing. But when you do this for some time, it's possible to train your mind to go into slow motion states, and a little bit like happens spontaneously if you get into an accident. I don't know if you've ever come off a motorbike or fallen, or where your life is in danger and your brain suddenly clicks into this slow motion state so that you can adapt very, very quickly and save yourself. Well, it's possible to train your mind to do that. So I'm also a painter and a sculptor, and I've noticed that when I'm doing brush painting, for instance, if I've been doing meditation, I can then put myself into the same state when I'm making a brush mark. Suppose maybe I'm making a splashy brush mark that I want to land in a particularly expressive way, and it gives me absolutely incredible control in the brush marks. It also, that type of presentness training is very, very useful for allowing yourself to feel the pause between your reaction and your response to something. So that's very, very important in terms of controlling your emotions, not in the sense of suppressing your emotions, but in terms of you actually having a choice in the way that you react, and in order to process stuff very, very quickly. So there are different ways in which you can focus that attention. Sometimes you can focus on the breath, so on the pauses between the in-breath and the out-breath. So noticing the pause, noticing that small space between the breaths. gives you the habit of paying attention to your presentness. In the same way, maybe something happens where you would have an immediate anger response. Maybe someone cuts you off in traffic or is rude to you. When you've practiced being very, very present, you have this micro space in which you're calm and in which you're able to make a decision about how you want to respond. And practicing this is extremely important, because the more meditation and the more self-development work you do, the more energy you have, and that energy can go to both good or bad. That energy, the increase in energy, means that you need more responsiveness and more control over the types of emotions that you have, because those emotions are intensified. So watching the ripple patterns is a really excellent way of bringing your attention right into the present. It's also incredibly beautiful, but when you learn to slow down your attention and zoom right into it, you can actually see the rainbows on the edges of the ripples. So you can see the cymatic patterns here in the water. So it's actually the appearance of the sound waves on the water, and you can use this as a focus of attention in meditation. So you focus your full attention into the way in which you're responding to the bowl. So you've got the feedback loop between the way you're playing and the sound of the bowl and the vibrations in the water, and you allow your attention to get more and more deeply absorbed into the water as you play. So I'm going to play a little bit stronger so that you can see the way the water shoots up. So they sometimes call this type of bowl fountain bowls, because you've got the strong fountaining effect. Really, I needed a little bit bigger playing stick than this to do this properly. And you notice I'm playing with the shoulder and arm rather than turning this with the wrist. So it's you've got that beautiful splashy sound. Allow your mind to go deeply into the ripple patterns until you can see the refracted rainbows on the edges of the ripples. It's amazing what you can do with your mind. You can slow the whole way in which you're perceiving time right down. And these cymatic patterns are incredibly sort of universal and beautiful. I hope that's helpful. It's one of my favourite meditations using the bowls. So just to recap, it's like a sort of meditation in motion. So the movement itself becomes a dynamic feedback loop between your presentness with the bowl, feeling it in your hand, feeling the vibration with your chest and with your whole body. So with a large bowl like that, you're actually feeling the vibration really passing through your body, and your response with the stick, you're playing it and slowing down and speeding up, and then watching the ripple patterns. So you're very dynamically involved and absorbed into the presentness of this interactive dialogue with the bowl, and then as a sort of extension from that, this is a bit of a strange thing, but With the larger bowls, there's a pressure point on the top of the head, which craniosacral therapists use to activate blood flow, so that the weight of the bowl and the resonance of the bowl going back and forth through the brain increases blood flow. So you can use this again both as a meditation practice. It's quite strange to do. Some people feel a bit uncomfortable with it, but some people also have a massive intensification of their like their vision gets sharper and brighter, their hearing gets brighter, they feel very calm and aware. So when you're doing this, I always recommend that people breathe down into their belly, really feel grounded with their feet. I notice when I do this that the bubbling spring point in the center of my foot gets very hot, and then after a while I feel the energy going up and down through my spine. So I breathe consciously deep down into the belly and hold and relax, and then breathe again. It's something you can do yourself. It's also something you can get a sound therapist or a friend to do. So just gently tapping the edges. With these bowls, sometimes you'll have like different frequencies around the edge or a little bit higher up. So when you practice with the bowl, you might find that there's a sweet point that you can strike. It's like here is much deeper note. So when you find out, you get to know your own bowl, you'll find other frequencies that maybe resonate with you or that produce different effects. So this is one technique that people can use to relieve headaches. So one of the causes of headaches and migraines is neck tension and restricting the blood flow to the brain. And so there's also a fight or flight response in the inner ear, where when you've got certain frequencies in the ear, it triggers extra blood flow. So that plus the pressure point on the head with the sound, it makes extra blood flow and relieves some types of headaches and some types of migraine, and is also quite interesting as a meditation practice. Some sound therapists also, I know people with whole chakra sets of these, with 12 bowls arranged in the different notes alongside the healing couch or healing mat. You hear this really deep. So, but people quite often, sound therapists will often use big bowls like this at the head and at the feet, and you can create like if you've got two bowls maybe in the same note but with a different scent, you'll have you get these beats running up, so they'll produce a resonant frequency between them, and you play them both and they'll make this pulse going up and down through the body. So a different octave, I mean. So they're marvellous, really sort of wonderful thing to use, and part of my regular meditation practice. So I hope that's helpful. I'm making this video from my home in Kathmandu. I supply singing bowls to sound healers and sound therapists all over the world. A lot of the sound therapy schools, actually, their private collections have come from me over the years. So do feel free to contact me in relation to that if you need something particular, and also do let me know if there are videos about how to play them, or the specific types of bowls, or the history or the use of them. I'll be happy to make some other videos for you. Do subscribe and let me know how you feel about the information, and thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.